Hello, hello, hello. Apparently that's become my new intro, and I don't know why, but it has. You guys, I have been so excited to record this voiceover because today we are talking about my autumn favorites. Yeah, I'm really excited. Just like pretty much everybody else in the world, I love fall. I love it so much. I love everything about it. Except for Halloween. If you watch a previous video of mine, I talk about how I am not a big fan of Halloween stuff, but I love spooky season. I'm all about it. And I figured since fall is coming and I just recently came out with my witch collection, which by the way, this painting that I'm doing in this video right now is available for purchase. I have an 8.5 by 11 version on my website, so if you want to purchase this or if you want to see what other stuff is in my shop, I have a link to my shop down below. Because I have this coming out, and again, the season is on its way, I figured why not do an autumn favorites? Today, I figured I would kind of give you like a list of a bunch of different things. So like book recommendations, my favorite movies and TV shows to watch, and then traditions that either I grew up with or traditions that like I've come up with throughout the years. But I think I want to start off with the book category. All right, so with most of these, I'm going to actually kind of break everything up into like categories. So we're going to start off in the book section with witches and magic. So first in witches and magic is A Discovery of Witches. I started reading this last year, and so far I've only read like the first book and then half of the second book. But I highly recommend at least reading the first book. Like, I am honestly okay with the fact that I haven't finished the series because the first book was good enough that I'm like, all right, cool. A Discovery of Witches was written by Deborah Harkness. Then we have American Witches, A Broomstick Tour Through 4 Centuries by Susan Fair. This one is really entertaining. She's very funny in the way that she writes, but I will say this is all about like the history of witches, so like the witch trials, even before that, and then how witches have kind of become like a mainstream thing. Not gonna lie, there's some stuff, especially from the early years, that I still to this day kind of can't get out of my head. And it's like small things, but it's just enough that the thought of going through that, it's a little traumatic. But it is really interesting. It's written really well, and she's very funny. And then, of course, Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I mean, you can't leave that out. I will say this. The movie feels a lot more magical, witchy that you expect when reading something or watching something called Practical Magic, but the book is really good. It's written really well, and it's just like really pretty writing. Then we have the paranormal section. So The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. That's a classic. There was an entire chapter that had my heart racing. It like scared the poop out of me. It was so creepy, and she wrote it really well. To actually scare me without visuals or sounds or anything, that takes a lot. The ending's a little odd, and I still don't know if I understand it. Next is The Ghost of Mrs. Muir by R.A. Dick, and there's also a old movie that is based on this book, and both are really good. It's honestly like a very cute ghost story, and it's not scary, and man, I wish I was as brave as Mrs. Muir. And then The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell, Purcell. For any of these names, I'm going to write it out in this video, because I'm not going to pronounce these correctly. I'm telling you right now. So if you're listening to this video while you're like doing something else, if you're wanting to actually check out these books, you might want to look up every now and then and see what the name actually is, because I'm going to butcher all of them. I'm so sorry. Then we have the dark section. So we'll start off with, this is actually the book that got me back into reading after years of being so convinced that I did not like books. Yeah. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. So good. At first, I was a little like, what's happening here? But you catch on pretty quickly. And it totally got me back into reading, and it made me realize how much I love murder mysteries. My absolute favorite genre are murder mysteries. The Bad Seed by William March. Okay, it was a book, then it was a play, and then it was a movie. Now, I will say this. The movie is on my list of must-watch for autumn movies, but you have to watch the 1956 version. That's the original movie. They've made a lot of remakes, but the original is the one and only, the best. But I don't want to give too much away, but I will say this. The movie was made at a time that they had to follow the guidelines of the Hays Code, which basically meant a bad guy always had to lose. The book did not have to follow those guidelines. Just a quick little disclaimer. If you are kind of sensitive to things, you might want to watch the movie rather than read the book. I grew up watching the movie since I was a kid, and I loved the movie, although as I became an adult, I kind of realized just how disturbing it actually was. But the book is a lot more disturbing, and there are some things that, again, I still kind of can't get out of my head. And lastly, The Hound of Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And honestly, anything Sherlock Holmes is a great option for an autumn night read. And then if you're wanting the more like sunny, happy, feel-good kind of autumn day vibes, The Bookshop at Pumpkin and Spice by Allison Charles, Donna Kaufman, and Kate Angel. That's got all kinds of like little short stories about people around town, and it's just a very cozy like Gilmore Girls, fall and Halloween, plus a little magic, maybe some romance. It's just a good little happy kind of book. Speaking of Gilmore Girls, of course, Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between by Laura Graham. Fantastic. It is written so well. It's so fun. If you're a fan of Gilmore Girls, this is a great book for you. And even if you're not a fan, honestly, it's just really interesting to listen to Lauren Graham's like take on life and the experiences that she had. And she just seems like genuinely a fun person. And the way that she writes is really entertaining, really fun, and it's so Lorelai. And then Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Yes, I had to add that. First time I ever read Pride and Prejudice was when I was sick with COVID, and like I was so ready for autumn. I think it was like middle of August. The heat was terrible and I just wanted it to be fall. So I was stuck in bed and I just read Pride and Prejudice and I loved it. So I feel like this book could go either fall or spring. Kind of just depends on the vibe you get from it. And then just real quick, I figured I would let you guys know what I am reading this year. So right now, I am still in the process of reading The Last of the Moon Girls by Barbara Davis. And it's not because it's a bad book. It's because I just haven't had the time. Like, I just am so focused on making art and creating videos and editing that I don't really try to find time to read because I'm just enjoying creating art, and so I don't really get a chance to read. So I started this book at the beginning of the summer and I still haven't finished it, but it is so good. The way that it's written, it's like it feels like magic could totally be real. I am also reading An Inquiry into Love and Death by Simone St. James. It's more of like a ghost mystery, scary story with romance, and it's so scary. I have another thing to admit. I started this book last fall, and then things got busy, things got hectic. I was reading 2 books at the same time, and I just didn't have time to finish either of them. So this year, I remember what was happening when I put them down. So I'm going to get back into these books and I'm going to finish them this year. But this one was really scary. Like, I would actually go to bed kind of freaked out. It wasn't that I had like these really scary visuals in my mind, like a scary movie. It was more so, it gave me a feeling of like, is something behind me? Is something around the corner? I feel like I'm being watched. That kind of thing. And then the next one is, I hope I say this right, Dracul by J.K. Stoker and J.D. Barker. So this is supposed to be a prequel to Dracula, and it's so good. So this book came out in 2018, but it was written by Bram Stoker's great grandnephew. All right, next, I think we should move on to music. It's gonna be really quick, but again, I've got 3 sections for you so that you can kind of pick and choose what vibe you're feeling. Driving Through Stars Hollow, Driving Through Sleepy Hollow, and Driving Through Forks, Washington. Yes, so I have 3 different kind of vibes for you to pick from. So kind of more like a happy, feel good, Gilmore Girls kind of fall, a more like creepy, eerie, dark, kind of more Tim Burton fall, and then, Twilight. So let's say you're driving through Stars Hollow. Of course, you have to listen to Jesse John's How to Dream from Gilmore Girls. If you're familiar with Gilmore Girls, if you've watched it, you know the song that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the intro song. I'm talking about that song. Next, we have Emily Jane White, Time on Your Side, Night Riots, All for You, and Rob Lane's Song of Home. Now, this is from the Discovery of Witches original soundtrack, and if you look it up on like Apple Music, if you go to the bonus track version, it's the full song rather than it going from like this song to a score. Now picture you're driving through Sleepy Hollow. Honestly, anything by Agnes Obel, but specifically her Citizen of Glass album. My favorite songs and the ones that got me hooked on her are Red Virgin Soil, Stretch Your Eyes, and Familiar. She has the best cinematic autumnal music. Florence and the Machine, I really love their song Blinding. Also, My Boy Builds Coffins and Seven Devils. Those are all really good autumnal kind of dark feelings. Of course, Paint It Black from Wednesday on Netflix. It's a great cover. It's so good. The original is amazing too, but this one is especially like Halloween, dark, creepy. Remember Vanessa Carlton? Well, she has a song called Wanted, and it's very eerie. Late Night Alumni, Rainy Days, so good. And then Lana Del Rey, Once Upon a Dream. And then let's say you're driving through Forks, okay? You're Bella Swan, or maybe you're Charlie Swan, and you're driving in your red truck through Forks. So we have Other Lives for 12. Again, Agnes Obel, her September song, so good. If you've never heard of Lo Fang, I highly, highly suggest you check him out. Specifically, When We Were Fire is really, really good, but also he does a cover, You're the One That I Want, from Grease, and it's very a very dark cover, and he changes up the words just a bit to kind of twist it. It's just really interesting. Again, a very interesting and original take as a cover. And then we have Lord Huron, The Night We Met, Florence and the Machine, My Boy Builds Coffins. Again, I had mentioned that before. And of course, you can't drive through Forks without listening to the Twilight soundtrack. On to the next, and we have movies. Now, I didn't put these into categories because I didn't. But I'm gonna start off with some that maybe is not on your typical fall movie watch list. Maybe it is, I don't know. But you typically see things like Hocus Pocus, Practical Magic, and there's obvious reasons. But I'm gonna start off with some that you might not think about. The Village. So if you saw this back when it first came out in theaters and you were under the impression that you were going to see a really scary movie and you came out of there all disappointed, I beg of you, please watch it again and go into it with a totally different mindset. It is not a scary movie, although it has its moments. If you're into aliens, if you want to watch a good movie, Signs, there you go, boom. Then we've got Knives Out. Murder mystery vibes, the house is perfect, the weather is perfect, everything's perfect. The cast is perfect. Also, like I had mentioned before, The Bad Seed, but you've got to watch the 1956 version. Last year, for the first time ever, I watched Sleepy Hollow. That one is fun. If you're not into a ton of blood, this might not be the one for you if you've never seen it, but if you like fantasy, if you like horror, if you like 1999 Johnny Depp, and if you like Tim Burton, this is the one for you. And then, of course, we have the classics, Hocus Pocus, Practical Magic, The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Although, is that a movie? Is that a show? Is it a short? We're going to put it in the movie category, but... And yes, I'm gonna say it, because how could I not? Twilight. Maybe just the first one. And maybe the second one, if you feel like it. Even if you're just watching it to make fun of it. But we all know that all of you, you guys too, you kind of like it. Another really random one, if you're, an early 2000s kid and you were of the time of Hilary Duff, I actually really love to watch A Cinderella Story around this time of year because they go to a Halloween dance. So, I mean, that's pretty fall right there. And I know I didn't mention these, but there's a reason. I've never watched Beetlejuice, and to be honest, I don't know if I can, because that kind of stuff, it's like verging on the whole like Halloween gross plastic stuff that I just really can't handle. So I have been steering clear of that one. And I'm sorry, but I really don't like Halloween Town. I've tried, and it's just not my cup of tea. And I didn't grow up watching it, so I can't really get into it now. I'm sorry. I also see Good Will Hunting on a lot of people's fall movie lists. And I watched it last year, and I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't as autumnal as I was hoping for. It was good. Kind of depressed me. And then we've got TV shows. So of course, Gilmore Girls, especially season 1, and of course any of the fall episodes. I mean, if you've never heard of this TV show called Pushing Daisies, I'm not sure where it's streaming, but I highly recommend you try it. It's so cute. It's super original. I've never seen anything like it. It's very storybook feel. And again, each episode is a different murder mystery. It's really fun. The main character, he's able to bring dead people back to life for a minute so that he can kind of figure out who murdered them. There's a really funny detective, and it's just really, really good. If you haven't watched Wednesday on Netflix, that one's a good one as well. And then, obviously, you've got to watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Any of the episodes are going to be perfect for fall. I mean, she's a witch, obviously, but if you really want to just pick out those Halloween, or perfectly autumn kind of themed episodes, season 1, A Halloween Story as Westbridge Turns, The Crucible, and season 2, A River of Candy Corn Runs Through It, and To Tell Immortal are all really good for that kind of feel. Now, I am a huge fan of the Dick Van Dyke Show, and actually the first episode that I ever saw was an episode from season 5 called Long Night's Journey into Day, and this was the first episode I ever saw, and it got me hooked. I actually always start my autumn tradition by watching that episode and season 4's The Ghost of A Chance, however you say it. Those 2 episodes from Dick Van Dyke is pretty much how I kick off my season. I don't know why, but that's just what I've always done, and I look forward to watching those episodes every year. Usually I'll watch both of them, and then I'll just put them on repeat for the rest of the night. They're so fun. They're cute. Of course, they're old, so it's like it makes it extra special, and it's a good laugh. And then if you're a fan of Bob's Burgers, then you know that their Halloween episodes are some of the best episodes. Honestly, all of their holiday episodes are really good, but they've got some of the best Halloween episodes that I have seen a TV show do. So season 6, The Haunting, season 7, Teen A Witch, season 8, The Wolf of Wharf Street, and season 11, Heartbreak Hotel-oween. Those are my favorite Halloween episodes. And those, again, are something that I look forward to watching every year. Like, I get so excited to sit down and watch some Bob's Burgers Halloween episodes. Also, Parks and Recreation season 2, Greg Pakaitis, that's a great one too. It takes place on Halloween, but I mean, the whole interrogation scene is hilarious. And then The Office season 2, Halloween, it's a great one. So the way that I have been kicking off my autumn season every year for the past, 6 years? Have I been doing it for 6 years? I was 22 and now I'm 28. Wow. So for the past 6 years, I always take off the Friday of Labor Day weekend so that I have a 4-day weekend. Thursday night, after I get home from work, I decorate the whole house. I put up orange lights, I put up purple lights, I put up all kinds of fall leaves, pumpkins everywhere, and I listen to my fall playlist, of course. Candles everywhere. Half of the house is just glowing orange for the whole season. Then once I have all of those decorations up, I'll usually light a fall candle from the previous year that we didn't use all of, and I watch those 2 episodes from Dick Van Dyke because, like I said, that's how I start off my season. So the night that I have all the decorations up, I watch those 2 episodes, and I usually watch them on repeat. Friday morning, I like to get up super early before sunrise. In fact, one of the traditions that I did for a long time, especially when I was living by myself in my first apartment, was I would get up at about 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and I would make coffee, and I'd open all the windows in my apartment, and I would turn on my autumn lights and just sit there, listen to the day wake up. Used to, I would go out and I would have a whole autumn shopping day where I would get a bunch of new autumn decorations and books and maybe some clothes or something. I don't do that anymore because I want to save money and I don't need all that stuff. That was back whenever I had my first apartment, so I didn't have a lot of things anyway, so it was kind of like I was just trying to fill up my apartment. But now it's so unnecessary. I do still like to go out and kind of just look at the fall decorations in places like Home Goods or Target or at home, places like that. Even Hobby Lobby, Michael's, they've got some good fall decorations. Of course, I avoid the Halloween section at all costs. And then we go to the Bath & Body Works store. And by we, I mean Jacob and I, because used to it was just me doing it, but then I introduced Jacob to the Bath & Body Works fall section. So now every year we have to go and smell all the new fall candles and pick out our favorites. And then sometimes I like to go over to Half Price Books because I just love being in any kind of bookstore. Barnes & Noble is great too, but I really love Half Price Books, especially because you can find books with the original covers, and it's really fun when you find those. Now, something I do like to buy every year when I'm out doing my fall shopping are all of the fall treats that I can find. So yes, I do love candy corn. I also love those Pillsbury cookies that have the ghost and the pumpkin and the cat on them. Gotta have those. And the Halloween Oreos. I know that they literally are just plain regular Oreos dyed orange, but I mean, it's just that orange, it tastes different, okay? And it makes it taste extra magical, okay? Then I come home and I make a big pot of chili. And then as it starts to get dark, we light all the candles and we grab our chili and we eat that while we watch The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. And then usually we'll pick either a Halloween movie or we'll watch a bunch of episodes of Halloween specials from our favorite TV shows while we drink homemade hot chocolate recipe from my mom, and I'm pretty sure she got it from her mom. And that is how I start off my fall. So that's been my fall routine, is taking that Friday off, having a 4-day weekend. Although honestly, like Labor Day weekend, having 3 days is pretty awesome anyway. And then of course, that's usually when I start reading like a new book that I really wanted to read for the season. I'll make pumpkin donuts. 2 years ago, Jacob and I got a fire pit. So usually we'll wait for a rainy day to happen, and then the following day we will have a fire pit out in the yard. Last year, the day that we decided to do the fire pit also happened to be Friday the 13th, and I was super excited about that. So we celebrated Friday the 13th we wrote down 3 things on a piece of paper that we want to like let go of, or habits we want to stop doing. We wrote them down and then we put them in the fire and just kind of imagined like, all right, this stuff is gone and it's not going to burden me anymore. And it was really fun. We roasted marshmallows, we had hot dogs, and then we kind of just talked about like random things. When I was growing up, we did fire pits out in the backyard, and I'm trying to bring that back, even though there's just 2 of us now, but it's still really fun. Celebrating Friday the 13th, people need to stop worrying about that date so much. Friday the 13th is actually a really great day, so yeah, let's all chill. Something else that I really like to do is go to the public library in my town. I don't know what it is, but the atmosphere in there, it's so quiet. It smells like books. Something else I really like to do is to dedicate an entire night to just reading by candlelight. I mean, you have to have enough candles that you're not straining your eyes and destroying your eyesight, but spend the entire night, light those candles, grab a blanket, get cozy, maybe open the windows if it feels good enough outside, especially if you can plan to do it on a stormy night. That makes it extra magical. So my birthday is in September. I make a list of at least 20 things that I want to do before my birthday. So it's kind of just like, here's my one last push to do all of this stuff before I'm a new age, you know? I'll put stuff on my list like spend a day reading, go on a walk on a cloudy day, try a new hobby, finish a painting, learn a new subject. Some are just really fun, quick, easy things, and then other things it's like it'll benefit me throughout my life if I, try it out and really enjoy it. My birthday is in the fall, so that's why it's a fall tradition for me. But if you are like me and every time your birthday comes around you get a little like because you're gonna be a year older, try something like making a list of 20 things that you want to do before your birthday, and it'll kind of be distracting and also make it a little like, just makes it a little more fun. And that, people, is my autumn favorites list. And I know that I didn't even scratch the surface of all the things that I actually love to do and enjoy. I mean, even things like celebrating the autumn equinox and making pumpkin donuts and stuff like that. I feel like I could have talked for hours about all of this stuff because I just love fall so much. I really, really, really would love to know if you have any fall traditions that you like to do, or like recipes that you like to make, TV shows that I didn't mention, or books that you're reading this year that have like that autumnal vibe, things that you do with your family, or stuff that you like to do on your own to celebrate fall. Please let me know, because I'm always looking for new like activities or stuff to watch, books to read. I'm always looking for new books to read. I love fall, and I love to take full advantage of every single moment of fall. Of course, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. And I also do studio vlogs as well, where you actually like see my face and see me doing some stuff. Like this video, leave a comment. Again, I really want to know what your traditions are. Don't forget to check out my shop, because again, this painting along with a solar witch painting, as well as some other witches and stickers, are up in my shop now. So make sure you go check those out. I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys. Love ya.